You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the real Rich Bees. That's right, Rich Bees. I'm back. And today we are back on it. How you say? Because this is a brand new day. We have a brand new topic, right? Because we gonna keep it moving. I told you we got stuff we gotta do. We got understanding we have to have for us to show up as the best version of ourselves. And that's what we on, right? That's what we on all day and day, right? If you want to talk about Outcast, that's what it is, all day and day. So listen, this one right here, this topic right here, this is one of them ones, okay? That's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm gonna say this one of them ones. Why is it one of them ones? That's what you want to know. That's what I'm gonna tell you, because we gonna get right into it. What are we talking about? Let's start this off with one of the reasons today why I was late streaming. Okay, y'all know normally I'm gonna stream sometime around 10-11 o'clock, right? I'm gonna start my stream at that time because I got things to do, people. I got things to do. That's just the fact of the matter, right? I got things to do, places to go, people to see. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here winning. I'm out here taking the stuff that I'm telling you guys and I'm putting into action and I'm winning. Why am I winning? Because I believe I am, right? I'm putting forth the effort. I'm stepping out there, doing the things that I'm telling you guys. So I'm not doing anything different than the things that I'm already telling you. That's why. So all I'm urging is for you to do the same. Now, know this. No, this is not a joke, okay? Yes, it's April 1st. It is April Fool's Day. I'm not a fool. And nobody else who watches my stream is a fool. Why? That's the reason why you came. Because you're trying to be the best version of yourself. And it ain't a joke. This is for real. For real. That's why we're doing what we're doing. So, with that being said, here's what we're doing. We're talking about the main reason why I was late streaming. Okay? That's where we're going to start. Okay? We're going to start there and we're going to roll it down from there. As you see the title of my stream, you might have got the notification. What does it say? You can put it in the chat. Shut up and listen. You know what I'm saying? Why? Let's give you a little example. Here we go. So, I was late streaming today. Why? Because I had to go past my local USPS. Right? The real question is at this moment, do I want to get into the heavy details? Because y'all, this had me pissed off. When I say pissed off, listen, I was just about the highest level of pissivity that I could be. Why? It wasn't because I wasn't conveying myself. It wasn't because I was sitting there, making sure that I was saying it in a way people can understand, right? I was delivering it in a way that they could be able to receive it. Okay, I was trying to ensure that I said what I was going to say clearly and in a way that they should be able to understand this. Any average human being that heard what I was getting across would be able to understand what I was talking about. Okay, I had a problem with the payment. Okay, the payment that I was trying to make it online. Online didn't take the payment. It kept saying that my card was bad. I know my card wasn't bad. I just used it before I even went to the post office. I used it the day before, right? So I know the card's not bad and I know the card is good to go on all fronts. Okay? So let's dispel that. However, I went to go and make this payment online and it told me my card was bad, right? I checked the information, made sure I didn't have any typos, went down to the address field, made sure that was right, no typos. I even went back to my bank, looked at the information in my bank to show my address to make sure I had the right one in there. Okay? Because I do have multiple addresses I use. Some on my business account, some on my personal, whatever. Okay? However, in this day, I'm trying to make this payment. Now, it didn't work at home. So I went to the post office this morning, and I go in there and I'm trying to make this payment. As I'm in the post office, I'm talking to the person. Well, actually, before I even went to the post office, I'm sitting in my car and I'm making the payment through my phone because I said maybe last night I had just added, my account, my PO box into my account. So let me see if it'll take it now because it's been time that probably merged together. So I try to make the payment again. I tried 4 times, still didn't make the payment. Okay, but I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go inside. I go inside. I start talking to the first person that I talked to in there. If I say the first person, then you already know it's going down from there, right? It's going down from there. So I get in there. I talk to the person, and this guy, as I'm telling him what's going on, he's trying to tell me that he can't do that in there. I said at the beginning of my statement, when I came in and I said what I said to you, at no time did I ask you, could you do it? Right? I didn't say that. What I asked you was, what's going on with your website? Is there somebody that you can contact for me to be able to get this taken care of on the website? And I actually said, because I know you can't do it in here. He again states, well, I can't do it in here, so there's no way that I can make that happen. You need to do this. I said, well, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do this. Well, I can't do that here. I said, I never asked you if you could do that here. You know what I'm saying? Like, shut up and listen. This is why we're talking about this topic today. And yes, this is going to step on some of y'all little bitty, itty bitty, minute little toes. Okay? Because I know that some of y'all are out here and y'all ain't winning. And it ain't because nobody ain't told you something. Y'all not winning because y'all don't know how to hear it. Y'all not listening. Okay? So that's what we're talking about today. Literally, shut up. Shut up and listen. Because you cannot understand anything that somebody's trying to tell you if you're talking. Right? And that is the fact of the matter. That is the purity, unadulterated fact of the matter. Now, here's the thing. This ain't just about like being quiet, right? This ain't about how many problems in your life keep going in circles because you just don't know how to receive what somebody else is saying, right? That's literally what it's about. You don't know how to receive what somebody else is saying. You think I'm playing, right? I don't think that you really hear me, right? If y'all getting it, tell me in the chat because I'm about to go in, okay? I'm going to keep going in because this topic obviously has me pissed. This is one of the first times that I've got on the stream and I was actually pissed. Okay? So today, we are really going to touch on this subject because I believe that if people can actually hear what someone else is saying, we can thwart or put off or mitigate majority of the problems that we have out here today. That is my belief. That is my true belief. So let me give you an example. Here's an example. Now, you heard my story. I told you the guy wasn't listening, right? Oh, you know what? Let me add this into this story. I ended up talking to another person that worked there at the post office. They too did not listen to what I said. They kept saying the same thing. Well, we can't do that in here. You can't make that type of payment in here. You have to do that online. You have to do that online. I understand that. I'm not coming in to do it here. I'm coming in to ask you, is there something going on with your website? What or who can I call or do to get this rectified? That's what I did. That's what I was requesting. Okay. I'm not going to get into the rest of what happened, but just know that I did talk to even another person past that. And at first, they did the same thing because nobody was actually listening to what I said. Therein lies the problem. Okay. So now here's an example, because if that example wasn't big enough, let me go ahead and bring it on home for you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and drop it off at your front doorstep. Okay. Here we go. Your girl or man is trying to explain why she's upset at you, and you just cut her off halfway through. You ever seen that happen? Have you ever done that? If you have, go ahead and throw it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Hey, raise your hand. Yep, that was me. That was me. I was like that. I did that. Matter of fact, Rich, listen, I just did it yesterday, so now you're talking to me, right? I get it, because it happens. It's the emotion. Remember, we had a whole stream about not being led by emotion, right? Don't let the emotion lead you. But I understand, okay? So it's not that I don't understand, because I do. Because I, too, have been guilty of that same exact thing, okay? But, again, we're here to change. We're here to grow. We're here to become a better version of ourselves. That's why we're here, right? So in doing that, I'm saying that another example may be, okay, you're trying to correct someone, right? And they end up getting like hot and heated before you ever even get to the point. I've been the person that got hot and heated. I've also been on the other side where I was a person trying to help correct someone, and then I'm the one that's feeling the burn of somebody else getting hot because they didn't listen, right? Let's get it into business, because y'all act like y'all personal lives are all shiny and what they call like squeaky clean, okay? If your personal life squeaky clean, let's talk about your business life, right? Because this is the epitome of what just happened to me, where a client is trying to tell you what they need, right? And you so busy trying to sound like you smart that you just missed the whole assignment. You missed the whole point of what they're trying to get across to you, right? And that is, ladies and gentlemen, that chat is where people actually lose it, right? It's not because the answer wasn't there. It's not because they never really heard the initial question. They never really heard what that person was trying to get across. They never really heard that person and truly what they were trying to say. And if you don't hear them, then you can't understand what it is that you need to do. And I'm going to get into it, because sometimes we don't need to do anything. Sometimes if you let that person talk, they'll answer their own question. They may have an issue. They will answer their own problem. They'll solution their own way to get out of it. Let them talk, right? Have you ever watched a movie and two people are, one person has this issue that's going on, blah, blah, blah. This other person has an issue and it's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they go and they're trying to meet up because they need to discuss these two issues. This person has an issue, this person has an issue, but they're a couple or they're friends or they're something, or they know each other or whatever. And they go together and they meet up and they're trying to get it across. One person's thing is really, really, let's say, urgent. The other person's thing is not as urgent. It's like something that they just want to get across. They've been waiting to say it. Okay. Now, the thing about it is, though, the person who has the urgent thing should get it out. But what happens? That person who has the urgent thing will go to the other person and they're like, oh yeah, I got something to tell you. And the person's like, yeah, well, what about this thing? You know what I'm saying? They don't let them actually get it out, or either they start saying it and then the other person's like, But hold on, we need to talk about this before you talk about anything. Like, they just cut them off and their thing is more important. And when you really look at it in the form of the movie, the other person thing that they had the urgent issue that they're trying to get across if they would have asked that question, that other person's actual, whatever their issue was going on, probably didn't even amount to a hill of beans in comparison to the other one, or their issue would have been answered or fixed or resolved if that other person would have just got out what they were trying to say first. Right? And you sitting there looking at this thing, you like, let them say it. Like, let them say it. You know what I mean? Let them say it. Don't cut them off. Ah, dang. Because you know, if that person would have got it out, this whole story would have changed. You know what I mean? That is the issue that we're dealing with here. And this is just regular life. You know what I'm saying? Come on, chat. Don't leave me out here by myself. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me. Talk to me. Because you know what it is. How many times have you been sitting there talking to somebody, right? And you can tell that they ain't listening. Right? They just waiting for you to stop so they can jump in. Yeah. Come on. That right there. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And let's be real. Some of y'all do that. Y'all not listening. Y'all just waiting for the other person to stop so you can say what you got to say. Right? Because a lot of people listening means like, I'm not talking right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking right now. So that must mean I'm listening. But that ain't true. Just because you're not talking don't mean you listening. Right? Okay. You know how we do. You know how we do. And you know what we about to do. Because this is what we do. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to pull out a Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Because we go into the dictionary. So let's do that. Because that's going to be the tail of the tape. Let me see if the dictionary comes up. Let's see. Bam. Dictionary. Does it work? Yep, it does. All right. So let's look up the word listening. Listening, right? Hearing. Okay, cool. Right? Let's see. Is that the only thing? Maybe I need to put in listen. Listen. Let's see if that'll work better. Oh, I forgot I can't delete there. Okay, listen. Let's see what listen says. Because we really need to get this under control. Some of y'all out of control right now. Some of y'all out of control. Listen. Hear and pay attention. Right? Hear and pay attention. Is there any other definitions? No other definitions. It's that simple. It's that simple. Hear and pay attention. It's not just hear, it's pay attention. Listening means hearing, right? But if you're going to listen to somebody, hear and pay attention. It is a verb. A verb means it's an action word, right? A verb means it's an action word. Hear and pay attention. So you have to know that trying to understand what the person says and not just catching enough words to react is the difference. Okay? There's a real difference. You have to be able to understand what the person is actually saying, because how can you respond? That means you're not responding, you're reacting. Maybe I need to do a whole stream on responding versus reacting. Maybe that's what we need to do. Because somebody needs some help. You know what I'm saying? We do. We all need help. And this may be the place that we might need the most help. Right? Reacting versus responding. Because there is a true difference. But in this mode, we're only talking about the fact of listening. Not even what comes after the listening. It's to listen, right? It's to listen to understand, you know? And so here we go. Here's an example, right? If somebody says, yo, when you did that, you know, it made me feel like overlooked. You know what I'm saying? And all you hear is they accusing me of something. You know what I'm saying? They're not accusing you. They're telling you how they feel about the situation. They're telling you how that affected them, how what you did, right, made them feel. So you already missed it. You missed it. Because you think that they're accusing you of something. They only stated the fact when you did that, it made me feel overlooked. Right? When you chose them, I felt overlooked. They didn't accuse you of anything. They told you the fact. You chose them. So now they feel overlooked. Right? And if only thing you heard was you did, you are, you. And they didn't even say any of that, right? But you sitting over here feeling accused. That means some of y'all are hearing the words, but you're not actually deciphering what's being said, right? You didn't receive the message. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing as if I'm on a computer and I'm sending, let's say, an email, and the email goes to the other person, but before it gets to them, it's blocked by like an ad blocker or some sort of a block system or a filter system or something like that, right? And then what they get on the other side is like a summation of, this message was blocked because of this, right? They didn't really get the message. They just got the block message that your account has blocked this message from coming in. So they didn't really get the message. They didn't get the meaning of whatever you said. Right? That might not be the greatest example ever, but that's one that I could think of. You know what I'm saying? As a way that a barrier comes into effect. It wasn't really something that person said, but it comes out being something different. Right? It happens also on phone calls. You might get on a phone call, with a cell phone, landline, if you still got landlines. Who got landlines out there? But if you still got a landline, think about it. Sometimes you on the phone and that bad boy just starts making like different noises and stuff like that. Like when it makes those noises, that other person on the other side, they were listening to you, but then whatever you said, when it blanked out, when it started doing staticky stuff, they didn't get the message. They didn't get the final understanding of what you just said. So what they do, they'll ask you to repeat. You say, hey, can you repeat that real quick? I didn't hear you. You kind of blanked out, right? That's what you'll say. I didn't really hear you. You know what I'm saying? Can you say it again? And you like, well, I don't repeat myself. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I just got off course. My bad. my bad, people. Like, if somebody's asking you to repeat what you just said because they didn't get it, there's no reason for you to get mad at that. And I don't care whether you don't repeat yourself or not. There's no reason for you to get mad at that because of the fact that they're trying to understand you, right? Like they're trying to actively understand you. Whatever you said, it just didn't compute, right? So if they ask you to repeat it, why would they? What do you think they're trying to be funny? Like they're not trying to be funny. They're trying to get understanding, right? But we're not talking about the person that's actually on the receiving side right now. We're talking about the person that is trying to get across something, right? And the receiving person is not listening. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to not understand someone, or one thing not to comprehend the thing that they're trying to say. And so you need them to say it again so you can get it again. I feel like that's a healthy way to hear somebody, and then if you didn't get it, can you say it one more time? Right? Is there another way you can say that? Because I think you're saying something, but I want to make sure that I'm hearing you right. Right? That's a good healthy way to hear somebody, or to get the message in a way that you can take it in, right? To get what they're really saying, right? Because a lot of y'all, I'm telling you, ain't even listening, and that's the problem. Right? And if they are listening, remember listening said hearing, okay? But to listen means to hear and pay attention, right? So if you're just listening, which is hearing, some people listening are only listening because they're trying to defend themselves. Some people are listening only because they want to explain themselves, right? Some people are only listening because they want to prove that they're right and that you're wrong, right? They're only listening to find one part that they disagree with, and then they're going to pounce on it. right? They go cut you off at that point and they're going to pounce on it, right? Because they don't disagree with that one part. That's not really listening. That's not really hearing to understand what that person is saying, right? A lot of people listen and then they go off emotional. Like I said, they jumped into it because the emotions kicked in because they felt like they were attacked and now they want to get at it. Come on now. Me. I used to do that a lot. I've tried my best not to do that. Why? Because I've understood, even though I know I was listening. I know I was listening because I know I'm an active listener when I hear things. I love to hear things, right? I love to listen to people. I love to listen to situations. I love to, pay attention to what's going on in the environment. So I know I'm listening. And yes, but that part right there, listening, find one part I disagree with and jump in on that. Yeah. I used to be really good at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being transparent and honest. Can you do the same? Jump in the chat, jump in the messages, jump in the comments. Come on. Be honest here because that's what we're about. Right? We're trying to make sure that we're the best version of ourselves. And to do so, we have to be honest about how we are operating and take accountability for our part that we play in these situations because these are real, right? And then there's other people who just sitting there and they listen because they want to get more ammo. I want to get more data points, right? I want to get more information and let you work yourself in the hole so that way I could turn it around and I could use it against you. You know what I'm saying? That's a manipulative style of communication. You know what I'm saying? Versus I really want to solve this problem. You know what I'm saying? I really want to solve this problem. And so because I want to solve the problem, I'm going to listen to you because I want to hear your point. I want to hear your side. Now, in me hearing your side and me starting to understand, if I feel like then I need to respond, then I will. But I need to be able to fully understand what it is that you're saying first because I may end up arguing a point that's not even something that you said. Because the rest of the conversation is playing out in my head and I've already finished your sentence saying something that you didn't say, right? That's why I gotta listen, right? I think that a lot of people will end up saying something in a conversation and the other person doesn't like it. And so now their whole mind has left the conversation. Their whole mind has left the conversation, right? And once they mind leave the conversation, now they're building a comeback speech. You're still talking though, but they're building a comeback speech, right? And like I said, sometimes this is you, this is me, this is us. This is us. We do these type of things. But we have to start moving out of intention, right? Because what we know is the conversation is still going on, but you've missed it. You've missed the whole point of the conversation because you've checked out, and now you're writing your speech, you're writing your monologue, and you're ready to go ahead and fire that bad boy off. You know what I'm saying? I believe that you can put it. You can say it like this: you're probably physically quiet, but you're mentally loud, right? Physically, you're quiet. You aren't saying anything. There's no actions on your part. But in your mind, that bad boy is yelling at you. You just gonna let him talk like that? You just gonna let him be that way? You gonna let him say that about you? Come on, man. You didn't do that. Why they gonna sit there and say that about you? Why don't you say something? Say something now. Cut them off. Man, don't even worry about what they're talking about. Go ahead and cut them off. They ain't got nothing else to say. You don't need to listen to them no more. You know what I'm saying? What they saying don't even matter. This is the conversation that plays out in our head. You know what I'm saying? It plays out in our head while the real conversation is going on. It's a whole real conversation going on. But you got a whole, like, I don't even know what to call it. Like a full on A full-on movie. There you go. A full-on movie going on in your head, right? You got a matter of fact, you got a whole committee, a whole committee meeting going on in your head between your ego and your devil side, right? You know, to the angel and the devil sitting on your shoulders, right? You got both of them in there. You got your homeboy, you got your mama and her voice, you got your dad and his voice, you got your brother and how he responds, you got your cousin over there because you know she get with people all the time. You got all these voices saying, yo, you better say something. You don't let them do that. Come on, man. Hey, you a sucker? Like, you got all these people that are talking to you, right? All these conversations playing out because of things that happened in your past. And now in this conversation, it has nothing to do with none of that stuff. Yet you're still holding all of these statements that people said about you and they're running together, creating a narrative, right? Creating a narrative. Now you're reacting based on that narrative and not even hearing what the other person said. And that right there costs people more than they realize. More than you realize, more than I realize. Like, I'm telling you, it costs us more because bad listening means that you don't get understanding. It means that you don't build trust. It means that there's no peace. You end up missing out on opportunities. Your relationships go bad. And you're not moving from a place of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about it, you're not moving from a place of wisdom. Right? It's costing you a lot. It's costing you a lot. And a lot of times, people, especially in a relationship, in business too. Like, people don't walk away because you talk crazy most of the time. Right? Sometimes they walk away because they realize, like, a conversation with you goes nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You ever had a conversation with somebody and when you start talking and then they cut you off and then they start talking in circles? Like, the conversation is going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, your friends will stop even bringing you into real conversations and stop hanging out with you because they know you don't know how to hold it. They know you don't know how to take what they're saying and just listen and understand, right? And those are your friends. Like, your friends know you, right? Or your client might not even hire you. Like, you had a client, now they don't hire you no more because you don't hear the details well. You know what I'm saying? Like, they trying to give you the details of the things that they're trying to get across and the things that they're trying to say. But then when the work starts getting done, you miss it. Like, you literally don't turn in what you said that you would do, but you're not doing it because you don't think that you did it. You think that you did it all, but it's because you didn't hear it all. You know what I'm saying? It's because you didn't hear it all, which becomes a problem. It becomes a problem faster than you think. Even though that person may continue with you on that project and try to correct you and fix it and all that other kind of stuff and try to get you to do the revisions or whatever based on what they said. But the fact of the matter they're not going to use you again, right? They are not going to use you again because you don't hear the details. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not on here just trying to bring problems. I'm trying to help you see that all of us have these things that keep us from being the best version of ourselves. That's why we're on here. Right? Because our point is to try to become the best version of ourselves in any situation that we find ourselves in. And like I say, we won't find ourselves in certain situations because we're operating being the best version of ourselves. We create the situations we want to be in. Right? So that's how all of these streams that we've talked about thus far, going all the way back to the goal setting, right? Beginning of the year. That's why they connect, right? And let's hook them. Let's hook them together a little bit better, okay? Let's hook them together a little bit better, right? And how this builds into what we're talking about right now, right? right? Because if we say the way you say it matters, then the way you hear it matters too, right? If your emotions are costing you, these are streams that we've done. If your emotions are costing you, then they're going to show up in the way that you're listening, right? If you're over emotional, you're going to cut people off. You're not going to be able to respond. You're going to react based on how you're feeling at that time because you're letting your emotions lead you, right? If the wrong stuff is getting to you, right? If the wrong stuff is getting into you, then you're going to hear everything through like insecurity, fear, anger, ego. Like all of those things are going to end up showing themselves in the way that you respond and in the way that you listen, right? Because instead of you responding, you're going to react because you're filtering everything through a filter of insecurity, fear, anger, ego, you name it, right? And then if people can't count on you, right? If they can't count on you, then how or why would they even talk to you? Right? Because they can't count on you to listen. All of this stuff just goes together, right? Because you can't be your best self if you only are working on your mouth and never on your ears. Our ears are very important. Our ears are very important. Do you know, like, and this is just me, I don't know if anybody else does this, but when I go into an environment and my family laugh at me when I do this, and I'm not doing it to be funny. I'm not doing it to call anybody out. I'm doing it to protect me. I go into an environment, and if that music is loud, and when I say loud, I'm talking about that loud that, you know the loud whenever you leave, like say you go to the club, right? Back in the day, I used to go to the club. It is what it is. And when I leave, then your ears start ringing, right? For like the next couple hours, your ears are still ringing. Or you in somebody's car and the music is so loud, it makes your ears ring, you know what I mean? Or you go to church, right? And they got all the volume on mega. They done went to their faders and said, eh. You know what I'm saying? Everything louder. Like, I put on my AirPods, right? I always keep my AirPods with me, right? And this ain't an AirPod commercial. Like, AirPods did not sponsor this. However, if you want some, I'll figure out how to get an affiliate link and I'll put it down there for y'all if y'all want to do that. But I know y'all know where to get AirPods from. And if you're a follower of mine, you probably already have some. So here we go. I keep my AirPods Pro on me because they have really, really good noise cancellation. And I'm not talking about for the call. I'm talking about if you put them in your ear, I can cut out all my background noise, right? From me just hearing. And so a lot of times you'll see me walk around with AirPods on, not because I'm listening to something, even though that keeps people from necessarily talking to me because they think I'm listening to something, but I do it because I don't want to hear all the noise. I want to protect my hearing, right? Because if I'm going to mix music and I'm going to, make music and master music and things like that, I can't lose my high pitch hearing, right? I got to be able to hear crispy. And this is the reason why ears are important. Because if I can't hear the crispiness, if I can't hear the vocal intonations and the right notes and stuff like that, because all I hear is the low end, because I'm missing my high end, I'm not missing it, but you can, if you let your hearing go, lose the high end part of your hearing, then how can I really do a really good master on something? And I know there's people out here who have hearing loss but still mix music and stuff like that. So it is possible. But the ability to hear it, you can never get back, right? You can never get back your high-end hearing once you lose it. So you have to protect it. And so that's why you'll see me. If you see me at a concert, I'm pretty sure you'll see me with AirPods Pro in. Because I'm protecting my hearing, right? Because hearing is important. And it's so important that God gave you two of them. You know what I'm saying? Gave you two of them. Not like one is a backup. He didn't give you one and then give you the other one just in case just in case that one goes bad. Let me give him a second one. That ain't how it works. You know what I'm saying? I don't think God did that. I don't think God said, hey, you know what? Because that would be the equivalent of you have one arm and you just have the other one as a backup. You know what I'm saying? But if that's the case, why do I need 10 fingers? Right? Why do I need 10? I could just have 5 and then the other 5 is the backup. Or I could have one. I could have a hand with one finger on it, right? A hand with one finger. And then maybe have 2 because the other one is a backup, right? Like, he gave you 2 for a reason. One, so you can hear what's around this side of you, right? The other, so you can hear what's on this side of you, right? It makes a stereo field, right? Because if I can hear with 2 different ears, then that means I can tell direction. I can hear which direction the sound is coming from, right? I can perceive sound in different spaces because I have 2. So it's not one in a backup, right? In spades, it's not one in a possible, right? Like, no, it's you have 2 because you need to, so you can fully hear your environment. You can fully hear what others are saying. And that's why you have a full range of hearing, right? 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. That's a full sound spectrum, and that's in human hearing, right? And so that's a full sound spectrum of almost all perceivable sound other than a whale. You know what I'm saying? Other than a whale, almost every other animal you can hear with your regular ear. And I think in some cases people can hear whales, but a whale is so low you more feel it than you do hear it, right? So if you think about things like that, then if I have 2 ears, then that must mean I need to listen more, right? I need to pay attention to the sounds that's going on in my environment around me. I'm pretty sure there's some other reasons why we have 2 ears, right? But those are the ones I could think of right up front, right? Definitely the stereo field, so I can tell the direction of any sound, because that's a protection thing for me, right? Or for you, that's a protection thing for the human existence. Because if you can only have one ear, then that means that you can't hear if something's coming on this side, right? You may hear it if it's loud enough where it reverberates off something and comes back to you, but then you're going to look that way, right? If I don't have this ear, right, and I can't hear anything out this side, then everything I hear is on this side. Then if something happens on this side of me, that sound has to now pass me, find a wall or something that it could bounce off, and that sound has to come back into this ear. But when I hear that, because the direction of the sound that it's coming from is this side, I'm going to look that way. Now I'm getting beat over the back of my head. You know what I'm saying? That's why you need 2. Now here's the funny part. You have no ear behind you, right? You have no ear behind you. You don't have an ear in front of you. However, your ears are made so they hook the sound that's coming from in front of you, right? They hook the sound. That's why they stick out some. So that way your ear holes can catch the sound that's coming from in front of you. But now what happens in the back? Because it's interesting, you can still tell when something is behind you. Why is that? Is it because the sound is perceived in depth because there's 2? Possibly. I'm not a scientist. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a scientist. Did I take a lot of science classes? Yes. Do I have a lot of interest in science and biology and physics and things? I do. I've taken a lot of them in school and in college. However, this is just me reasoning the fact that how can I hear a sound behind me? It's not that I hear it, it's that I perceive it because of the way in which it reflects. Anything coming from the front is going to be sharp, right? It's going to have high-end sound coming from it, a higher tone. If it's behind me, it's not going to be as high. right? It's going to sound cut off, chopped of the top. Why? Because it's the reflections of it make it lose the top end of what it sounds like. And so your brain already takes it in as this sound can't be coming from this side or this side and not in front of me because I'm missing the high end side of it, right? So that must mean it's got to be behind me. So your brain interprets what it hears because you have two. Now, I'm not saying it can't do the same thing if you have one, but it will be severely compromised. You know what I'm saying? And again, this ain't a science lesson. That's not what this is about, right? It's about some of y'all that are out there that are trying to catch water with closed hands. Some of y'all trying to catch water with closed hands. You know what I'm saying? You know, how you gonna, it's gonna leak through the you can't really hold it. You know what I'm saying? It'll be in there for a little bit, but you ain't gonna get it all. You ain't gonna get it all, right? The truth is being poured out. The wisdom is being poured out. You know what I'm saying? The correction is being poured out. But because your hands are closed, because your ears are closed, you're already mad about it. I can't hold it all. Pour it in my hand. You know what I'm saying? That's the equivalent that you're trying to do with your ears. You're saying pour it in there, but you ain't really listening. You ain't really listening. It's just spilling out the sides. It's reflecting off your face. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you blocking them. Nothing can get in. No sound can get in. You might as well just take both your hands. When somebody starts talking, take both your hands and cup them, right? Cup them and in your ears. That's what you need to do. In your ears. It'd be better. At least the person would know for sure that you're not listening. Right? Because just like you can't really receive with closed hands, right? If you got your hands closed, and even if you got them cupped like this, you can't really receive because it's going to fall through the cracks. If you're trying to take water, it's going to fall through the cracks, right? It'll hold a little bit, but it's going to leak out, right? It's the same thing. I can't sit here and get understanding, right? Hold understanding if my ears are closed or my mind is closed. Those two things won't work together. Am I making sense, chat? Am I making sense? I hope y'all following because I'm really vested into this subject today. I'm really on, and I know you can tell. I know you can tell because today I am fired up. I'm fired up because I was so pissed. There was no reason why they couldn't just listen to me, listen to what I was saying. The conversation could have been one and done. The very first person I talked to, if they would have listened, it could have been one and done. We could have got to the answer and kept it pushing. But that's not what happened. Right? Yes, that's not what happened. But now watch this. Real listening doesn't mean that you agree with everything they say. Right? It means that you actually give yourself time to hear and understand what they're saying first. That's what real listening is. That's what active listening is. Right? You want me to say it again? Okay. All right. I'll say it again. Real listening doesn't mean that you agree with everything that person says. Just because you didn't say anything, right? Real listening means you give yourself a chance to actually hear and understand what that person is saying first before you speak, right? Because real listening looks like letting people finish. When they talk, let them finish, right? Don't interrupt them, right? Real listening even looks like asking questions. What did you mean by that? right? Repeating back what they said and ask them, did I get it right? Right? Slowing down your reaction, right? Checking in with them to see if you actually heard that right. You know what I'm saying? I think I just said that. But yeah, sometimes you got to hear it twice. So check in with whatever they said to make sure you heard it. That's 3 times. Now I know you got it, right? Caring, but you should care more about understanding what they're saying than winning the argument. That's what should happen. Because if you care more about winning, then you'll never get the understanding needed to be able to resolve the issue, the real issue, because you don't even know what the issue is. Because all you're worried about was winning the conversation, winning the argument, winning the discussion, right? So I feel like if you're going to, because remember I told you, like a lot of people are defending themselves, which is the reason why they're not actually listening. And so instead of doing that, instead of saying, well, that's not what I meant, maybe you can say something like, so what I'm hearing is, right? And relay exactly what you think you heard, right? Because just that right there changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. It takes it from a 10, probably down to like a 6. And depending on what you say, so what I'm hearing is, and what you say next is going to depend how far down do you continue to take or de-escalate that issue, right? That what they brought to you. Because the whole point is to get it down to a manageable level that you can continue to have a good conversation and you can solve the problem, right? But you have to actively listen, right? You have to actively listen to what they're saying so you can get understanding about the real issue that they're talking. Because a lot of people, when they say what they're saying, they may not even know how to say what the real problem is. You know what I'm saying? Some people might not know how to put their problem into actual words. So you gotta let them talk. You gotta let them get through it. They're working it out in their head as they're trying to say it to you. Not everybody comes with a full-on written down, okay, this is what I mean by this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. Most people don't come to you that way. They're going to come to you with a jumbled up issue that they're trying to hope that you'll help parse, right? And so if you're going to be mature, if you're going to show up to be the best version that you can, then maturity means that you're going to listen long enough to understand before you decide how to respond, right? You have to listen long enough to understand what's being asked, to understand what's being said before you actively decide on how you're going to respond. Because that is a decision. Just because somebody tells you something don't mean you got to respond to it right then, right? You cannot respond. You can say, you know what? Let me think about that. You really I know that sounds really challenging, right? I know that doesn't make you feel good. I know it probably makes you feel away and all that. You know what? Would you like me to respond to this? Or were you just trying to get it out, right? And they may say, no, I really want you to respond. Okay, cool. Can you give me, say, a couple hours and I'll respond to it, or can I get a night to sleep on it, right? And I'll reach back out to you tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to decide exactly how you want to respond. Because responding in the moment, you might end up saying something that you didn't even really mean to communicate. Remember, we talked about it, right? We talked about that yesterday. You might not even meant to communicate that. But you're in your emotions, you're in your feelings, you're feeling away because of what they said. You might even be feeling attacked. Maybe you might feel that way. That doesn't mean they were attacking you. That just might be how you feel about it, right? But giving yourself time to take in what they said, replay it in your head a couple times, maybe even write it down, right? Once you get away from them and you're saying, hey, give me about, 2 hours. I'll come right back to you in 2 hours. Make sure you come back though. Do what you say you're going to do. I'm going to sleep on it for a night, and then I'll return to this conversation tomorrow and I'll give you my thoughts about it. Okay, cool. When you leave them, you can write it down. You can grab your phone, put it in your notes app or whatever. Write down what it was that you understood, that you took from it, that you had agreed with, because you went back and you said, what I'm hearing is this right? They said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, cool. Boop, 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 boop. You write it all down. I'll get back with you in about an hour, get back with you in 24 hours, whatever that looks like. And then you can look at it, you can think about it, you can actually respond and figure out exactly how you want to come across to resolve this issue. Right? So before you answer somebody, right? When you got the information down, you told them, let me give me 24 hours, whatever. Before you actually respond, here's some questions that you can ask yourself. This is what I'm getting to, right? Some questions that you can actually ask yourself. Give me 1 second. This is a lot, chat. We going through it. I told you I was invested into this. All right. So before you respond to them, here's some things that you can ask yourself. Not the other person. This is what you ask yourself. Because you have to parse what they said. You have to take it in a way that you can actually understand it. Right? And sometimes that you don't really understand what they said. You understand the words they use, but you don't really understand what they're meaning by those words put together. Okay? So here's what you ask. You say, what are they really trying to say? Right? What are they really trying to say? And then you come behind that and you say, well, what part of what they said is triggering me? Right? Because if you were going to get emotional, you started feeling away. Well, what part is actually triggering me, right? Did I actually hear the message that they were trying to give? Or am I just reacting to the tone that they're using? Right? These are things that you have to figure out. And then you can even ask yourself, well, can I actually repeat back what they meant? Right? These are some, matter of fact, you might be able to even say these to yourself in the form of the conversation that's going on. Once they finish, because you got to let them finish, right? Be mature. Once they finished, then you can ask yourself these questions in the moment. Once they finished, right? Okay, what are they really trying to say? Okay, what part of this? I'm feeling away. So what part of this triggered me? Did I actually hear what they said? Or was it just their tone? Is it their tone that's pissing me off? Okay. Can I repeat back what they just said or what they meant by what they said? Can I repeat it back to them? Okay. And that should give you enough information and data points to say, okay, no, I'm not triggered. I'm okay. I'm good. Okay, their tone, that didn't really set me off. Okay, they said something about blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? That really didn't have anything to do with me. Okay, so it's not really me that they're mad at. They just want to run it past me. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, and then you can respond, right? So, all right, here we go. If your girl said, you don't hear me, right? Don't immediately jump out there and say, yes, I do. Just ask them a question, right? Well, what am I missing, babe? Right? Because now this is a different kind of conversation. This is a whole different conversation. If your girl says, you don't hear me, and you say, well, what am I missing? Boom. Energy. Boom. You're now at a respectable level that you can have a really good conversation. Right? And the key is, if you can repeat it back, then you heard them. Right? If you can't repeat it back, you probably didn't hear him well enough. Now this is what I'm saying is the part that if we could get that section right, if we can get that mode of thinking right, that you ask yourself those questions and then be able to repeat it back to them. What I heard was, right? Because then they can correct you. They can say, no, I didn't mean to say it that way. If I said it that way, that's not what I meant. What I was trying to say is this, that, and the third. Because sometimes people need to hear it back for them to either realize that they're judging you, they're saying that you're the problem or something like that. Sometimes they need to hear it back to realize that that's not what they meant. Okay? So that's why you just replay it back to them. It makes the conversation so much easier. You don't have to get all off on going crazy, feeling away, having this, heart palpitations and all that kind of stuff because you feel like you're being attacked, right? Play it back to them and then ask them, is this what you meant? Right? If you can say it back to them based on what you understood. So what I'm hearing is you feel like I don't listen to you and you feel like I'm, I want to argue all the time. Is that what you meant? And they say, well, no. I'm not saying that you want to fight all the time. I'm just saying like, I think it just feels like you do. Oh, okay. So you're saying that, no, I don't fight all the time, but you feel like I do because you think I'm not listening. Is that right? You see what I'm saying? Then they can clarify. They can say, well, no, I know you hear me sometime, but sometimes I just feel like, I'm just not being understood. Okay, so you think I'm listening, but you don't feel like I'm understanding totally what you're saying. Yes. Okay, can you provide an example? And they say, well, you remember when we had the conversation about blah, 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 and I said blah, blah, blah? That never happened. You never came and did that thing. And then you could say, oh, well, you know what? This happened, and this is the reason why I ended up not being able to do that. I did hear you, and I really wanted to do it, but I just wasn't able to at the time. My plan, though, is that maybe I can do it sometime in the future, but it just wasn't going to work at the time that I thought that I'd be able to do it when you were saying that. Does that make sense? Right? If you have a conversation like that, she's going to be good. You're going to be good. Nobody's up in arms. Y'all have a great night. Maybe you can go home and get you some. How about that? Sometimes it just takes listening, people, right? To solve the problem. Now, here's the uncomfortable part, though. If multiple people keep saying, that's not what I said, right? When you repeat it back and they say, that's not what I said, or they say, you're missing my point, or they say, you're not hearing me, right? Or they're saying, let me finish, right? Or they're like, well, I'm telling you, that's not what I meant. That ain't bad luck. That's a pattern, right? Because at some point, you got to stop saying everybody's communicating bad and ask yourself, is my own listening weak? Am I a bad listener? Right? Because the first thing that we need to do is take ownership of where we are. Especially if the things keep being said to you. If the things keep coming up that's not what I said. You're missing my point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not hearing me. If these are the things that people are constantly saying to you, then, and I'm not talking about just one, I'm talking about multiple people. If they're saying this to you, then that means that your listening skills leave a lot to be desired, right? Like, you need to work on them. And that's what this stream is about. So if you need to play this back, play it back as many times as you need to. That's why it's going to be on YouTube. Go to the YouTube, right? The Real Rich Bees, go to the YouTube, and we can play this back. You can play it back as many times as you need to, because the point is you have to up your communication skills, and it's not just about what you're saying, it's about what you're hearing, right? Because everybody wants to be understood. Everybody wants better communication. Everybody wants peace. Everybody wants stronger relationships. Everybody wants like stronger business. Everybody wants just trust, right? But you can't build any of that If every word feels like an attack and every correction feels like disrespect, you can't have any of that. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to build up your ability to communicate, and more than likely, it errs on the side of hearing. It errs on the side of listening. These two things that are sticking out of your head on the side need to be engaged a little more. You might need to get something to pin your ears up a little bit more like that, right? If you could pin them up a little bit more like that, that way they stick out, they can catch more sound, and then maybe you can process a little better, right? And this ain't me just clapping on y'all. Like, I'm not busting. I'm not throwing shots at y'all. I'm trying to be honest and open and transparent with y'all that's the part that needs to be worked on then. You know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all don't need another speech. Y'all don't need to hear it again. Y'all don't need to hear y'all don't need another ear, right? Like y'all don't need a speech. Y'all don't need an ear. Y'all have two. At this point, you just need to shut up and listen. Slow down. Listen. Let people finish and listen. Stop defending and listen. It's really good, right? Were you listening? That quietness, sometimes that's what we need, right? Stop listening to everything else and listen to the people who mean something to you. Listen to the people that you're trying to have relationship with, right? Listen to the people that you're connected to. Really hear them. Because if you always busy defending yourself, you're missing everything that can help you change. Listening is so great. So that's it for today. I think I got it out my system, right? I feel better. Do y'all feel better? If you feel better, W's in the chat. Go into the comments. Hey, let me know how you're feeling on this one, because this one really meant something to me. Because I'm telling you right now, I really felt unheard at the United States Post Office today. I felt so unheard. I felt like they did not even give a care about what I was really saying. And I tried to 3 different people to get my point across. And I sat there and listened to all that they said. That's why I repeated it back to them. You're telling me that I hear. What do you mean? Like, it was such a hard conversation. It was such a hard conversation. I have some other points that I could have added on to that, because sometimes there's a culture thing, right, that cause people not to listen. But I didn't want to get into the culture and anything like that. I didn't want to get into that. I only wanted, because I communicate very professionally when I'm in, especially a business capacity, right? Even my personal capacity, because I'm talking to y'all like my personal capacity. This is how I communicate. So in this, I'm just trying to say to y'all, like, there are levels to this, but always err on the side of listening more than you're talking. When it comes to having relationships, when it comes to having connections, when it comes to having or building a business, right? Listen more. If you're a leader, listen. Good leaders, matter of fact, great leaders, listen more than they talk. All right. So thank y'all for joining me today. You know who it is. You know what it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, we're still at 48. We're almost at the 50 mark of followers on Twitch. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Follow your mans, Rich Bees, The Real Rich Bees, on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Okay, Rich Bees on all of the platforms. Make sure you come back and check me out. We're going to be right back here tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be able to do it at my normal streaming time. But if I don't, just know that each day you still gonna get a video from me. Why? Because I am consistent. I have been consistent and I'm gonna keep driving forward. I want to win. I want you guys to win. So I want to show up for you, and you can rely on the fact that you're gonna get something new from me. You're gonna be able to build and keep growing and keep adding another tool in your tool belt so we can all win together. A rising tide raises all boats. Let's go. You know how we do. I thank y'all, man. I really do. I really do. Thank you for the time. Thank you for listening. And come back and see me next time. All right? This is Rich Bees, the real Rich Bees. Salute. We out.